Hello, continuing our reading in Poppy and Rye by Avi. Today is chapter 22, Poppy Makes Up Her Mind. Though Poppy waited at the tree, Aerith did not return. Knowing how unpredictable her friend was, she kept asking herself how long she should wait. After all, she had been with the mice longer than she'd planned. That certainly would have irritated the old porcupine. She began to think he'd done what he'd threatened to do all along, trundled back to Dimwood Forest. Yet, Poppy was quite aware her friend might be doing no more than taking a nap in a nearby log. Normally, Poppy would not have minded waiting, but she kept worrying that if she were going to save Rye, she had to act swiftly. Having nothing better to do, she searched about the base of the cottonwood tree for some of Aerith's quills to take back to the nest. When she failed to find any, she became fretful. The thought of sneaking into the beaver's lodge without the protection of quills was something she did not relish. Having no quills set off a nervous train of doubts in Poppy's mind. Would she be able to get into the beaver's lodge again? Was Rye's cage unbreakable? What if she or he got hurt? Would they be able to use the vine to get out of the lodge? And what if freeing Rye did bring greater harm to the rest of his family? Maybe Valerian and Clover were right. Maybe it was all too dangerous. The more Poppy thought, the more doubts she had about her plan. Suddenly, Poppy felt an intense desire to race back to Dimwood Forest and hide. There, she would be safe and secure in the world she knew and loved best. It was bittersweet to recall that when she had begun this trip, she had been looking forward to a time of calm. Perhaps Aerith was right. Perhaps it was better to be alone. And yet, she had fallen in love with Rye. Moreover, she had promised to help him. How could she abandon him? She could not, no more than she could abandon her feelings. Too agitated to wait any longer for Aerith, Poppy hurried down the hill and crept back into the nest. It was very crowded. Some 50 or more mice were there, most of whom she had not seen before. She caught hold of Thistle. "What's happening?" Poppy asked. "It's the rest of our family," Thistle explained. "Valerian asked them to come here about your plan." "Are they for it or against it?" Poppy asked. "They can't make up their minds," Thistle confided. "Poppy, I think we should do it, as long as we have quills to defend ourselves." "Thistle," Poppy confided, "I couldn't get the quills." Thistle blanched. "You couldn't?" "My friend, the porcupine, has disappeared." "Does that mean we can't rescue Rye?" Thistle asked with dismay. Poppy, feeling she had failed the young mouse, hardly knew what to say. "I'm not sure," she replied. Valerian approached. "Poppy, I sent word to the rest of the family about what you want to do," he informed her. "It's so important. I felt everyone should be involved in the decision." "Attention, please," he cried. The mice hushed. "For those who don't know her yet," Valerian said by way of introduction, "this is Poppy. She comes to us from out east. She was a special friend of Ragweed's. That makes her a good friend of ours." To this there were murmurs of assent. "You've heard what's happened to Rye and what choices we've been given," Valerian continued. "Move off somewhere and hopefully have Rye freed, or try to save Rye on our own and take our chances with the beavers. To be honest with you, your mother and I think it'd be best to move on. Poppy here wants to rescue Rye. Since this concerns the whole family, we thought it'd be wise for you to hear her for yourselves." Once again, Poppy found herself facing a world of grave, golden faces. Momentarily, she thought of sharing her anxieties, but feared that if the mice knew how nervous she was, they would never give her help. Instead, she simply explained her plan for freeing Rye. "Did you get those quills?" someone asked when she was done. I'm afraid not. A nervous twitter passed over the family. I do need some volunteers, Poppy said almost timidly. Curly Dock shyly lifted a paw. I'll go, he offered. Me too, Thistle joined in. What about the rest of you? Poppy asked. Can I have your approval? Valerian cleared his throat. Poppy, if you don't mind waiting outside, I think it would be easier for us to make up our minds. It was a discouraged Poppy who left the nest. Once above ground, she gazed down at the pond and the lodge where she knew Rye was being kept. Think of it, she told herself, as just another kind of dance. Thistle and Curly Dock emerged from the nest. Poppy looked at them expectantly. Thistle said, They think you're making a mistake, but they won't keep you from trying. They're going to move, so we're on our own. Poppy considered her young friends. Please, she said to them, you're very brave to volunteer, but it will be hard, maybe impossible. I won't think less of you if you change your minds. No way, Thistle said with stubbornness that made Poppy recall Ragweed. We're going with you. Curly Dock nodded in agreement. All right, then, Poppy said briskly as she tried to stir up her own energy. The first thing we need to do is get a long piece of vine. Any idea where we can get one? The young mice exchanged looks. Maybe up by the berry thicket, Curly Dock suggested. With Curly Dock leading the way, the three mice scampered up the hill. A short run brought them up and over the ridge. On the far side, they went down into a sunny hollow. Before them lay an overgrown thicket of berry bushes and flowering honeysuckle vines. The air was filled with sweetness. We should be able to get a honeysuckle vine here, Thistle said. They're long and tough. The three mice were soon deep within the thicket. Cool and moist, it was perfumed by the almost overpowering sickly sweet scent of berries. How about this vine? Curly Duck asked. He was yanking on a green strand that twisted high over their heads and out of sight. It really needs to be long and strong, Poppy urged. It has to get us into the lodge and out. Now this one looks okay, Thistle called from another spot. She was joined by the others. Haul it in, Poppy said. While the other two worked to untangle the vine, she chewed through its roots. Then they began to pull. It's stuck, Thistle announced. It must be tied around something, Curly Dock agreed. No matter how hard the three pulled, the vine would not come. We can follow it along, Poppy suggested. Curly Dock was up front. Thistle was in the middle. Poppy came behind. As they followed the vine, they became increasingly spread out, losing sight of one another. Suddenly, from deep within the thicket, there was a frantic call from Curly Dock. Help! He cried. Hurry, fast! Poppy and Thistle dropped the vine and charged forward. Curly Dock was crouched down in terror. Looming over him was Aerith. Aerith! Poppy cried. Poppy, Aerith snapped. You simple smudge of a slimy slug. Where have you been? Poppy grinned. I've been busy, but I've been looking for you. What are you doing here? Never mind. Just get me out of here. I'm stuck. He pulled back and forth, but his quills continued to hold him fast. Aerith, Poppy said, this is Curly Dock and Thistle. They're brother and sister to Ragweed. Ragweed, Aerith said. I'm sick of talk about Ragweed. Just get me out. I need to talk to you. About what? Just get me out. Poppy turned to Curly Dock and Thistle. They had been looking on in great puzzlement. It's all right, she told them. He's perfectly harmless. No, bee butter, Aerith roared. I am not harmless. I have a terrible temper. I say dreadful things. I'm a selfish old coot who does what he wants, when he wants, and doesn't care what anyone else wants. He's really good, Poppy said. No, don't listen to her. I'm bad, Aerith screamed. Nonetheless, the three mice set to work chewing away at the vines that had ensnared Aerith. Even as they did, the impatient porcupine tossed and pulled, trying to free himself. Finally, with a snap, he broke loose. Now, Aerith said, tell those friends of yours to beat it. I have something important to tell you. I'm sure they could listen. No, it's private, mushhead. Poppy looked at Thistle and Curly Dock, who, understanding, scampered off. I've got something to tell you, too, Poppy said when they were gone. You have to listen to me first, Aerith insisted. What I've been thinking is... He stopped, suddenly bashful and tongue-tied. What is it? It's just that, what I think is... now, see here, Poppy, I wish I had a piece of salt. Tell me what you wanted to say first. Are you sure? Push the barf button and take a bath. I just said so, didn't I? Well then, said Poppy, blushing with pleasure. Aerith, I've fallen in love. You what? Aerith whispered aghast. Fallen in love. With, whom? Aerith asked. He was trembling with emotion. Poppy smiled. I know it must seem strange, but you see, actually, he's Ragweed's brother. His name is Rye, and he's... But what's the matter? Thief! Crook! Aerith yelled. I'll skewer him, whack him, mash him, turn him into skunk gunk. Aerith, what are you talking about? Oh, you just think I'm too old. The porcupine ranted, rearing up and down as though bitten by ants. Too stupid, too big, too sour, too me. Abruptly, he whirled about and began to rush away. But that's not true, Poppy called after him. It's not. And what did you want to tell me? Oh, forget it, Aerith called back. I'm leaving. Where are you going? To Dimwood Forest, Pickleseed, he cried. Aerith, Poppy called after him. Please don't go. I need you. You're on your own, traitor, the porcupine shouted as he tore from view. With great puzzlement, Poppy gazed after him. Something was surely the matter with her friend. With a sigh, she wished she understood him better. She glanced around. To her great relief, she saw that in his fury, Aerith had dropped some quills. She gathered them up and hurried to find Thistle and Curly Dock. And that's the end of chapter 22.